Sunset Boulevard's buried Cowboy Road. Before Sunset Boulevard became one of Los Angeles's most iconic stretches, it was a patchwork of open fields, dusty paths, and makeshift studios. In the 1910s and early 1920s, the land around Sunset and Gower became the beating heart of Hollywood's earliest productions, especially westerns. And hidden beneath that modern chaos lies a silent film road almost no one knows is still there. Beneath the hum of Sunset Boulevard, a forgotten western highway is still sleeping under the asphalt. During the silent era, studios didn't have controlled backlots yet. They relied heavily on natural landscapes, spaces where horses could run freely, and stunt riders had room to stage dramatic falls. The area around Gower Gulch became a magnet for early Western performers. You could walk down the block and see cowboys lined up every morning, dressed and ready, hoping to get cast for the day. Behind these casting clusters, early studios carved out a long, bare filming road, a simple dirt track running behind their lots. This road appeared in hundreds of silent films. It was where director Alan Dwan staged early chase scenes, where Tom Mix practiced riding at full speed, and where countless extras sprinted across dust clouds, hoping to make the final cut. In those years, this humble road was one of Hollywood's busiest highways, though it never appeared on any city map. By the late 1920s, everything changed. Sound stages replaced open-air filming grounds. Westerns began to wane, and the studio system reorganized production methods. As buildings rose along Sunset Boulevard, construction crews gradually paved over the old filming road, layer by layer, turning the once bustling stretch into office lots and parking structures. What no one expected was that the core of that silent era path would remain almost perfectly preserved underneath. In the mid-1950s, a renovation project behind Sunset and Gower revealed compacted earth shaped exactly like an old wagon track. Construction workers noted the different soil density, evidence of decades of horses, wagons, and stunt traffic. Modern asphalt had covered the road, but never erased it. A Hollywood Reporter piece in the 1950s described a perfectly intact stretch of old filming road, complete with depressions from wagon wheels. One worker reportedly said, "It felt like we had uncovered a small doorway into early Hollywood, Chaplin's hidden backlot street, under La Brea and Sunset." When Charlie Chaplin built his studio at La Brea and Sunset in the mid-1910s, he needed something most filmmakers struggled to find: total control over outdoor shots. Los Angeles was growing, traffic was increasing, and the once quiet empty fields used by early filmmakers were shrinking. So Chaplin created his own private street, a full outdoor filming road with storefronts, sidewalks, and enough space to stage chases and dramatic scenes, all hidden within his studio walls. Few people know that beneath a modern studio complex lies a street Charlie Chaplin built for silence, comedy, and control. When Chaplin constructed his studio in 1916 and 1917, he designed every inch with precision. The curved rooftops, the European-style architecture, and the iconic gates were part of a vision. But so was the small road tucked behind the main stages, Chaplin's private filming street. It wasn't glamorous, it wasn't big, but it was incredibly important. This controlled outdoor road was where Chaplin could rehearse and shoot scenes without the unpredictable noise and interruptions of the increasingly busy Hollywood streets. Films like A Dog's Life and Shoulder Arms made use of constructed exteriors and street-like settings, many of them staged on this private road. Production notes mention a rear road for rehearsals and exterior work, giving Chaplin a space to perfect timing, a crucial ingredient in silent comedy. The road also served as a testing ground where Chaplin experimented with camera placement, depth, and perspective before staging final scenes. As decades passed, the Chaplin lot evolved. In the late 1950s, the property became part of the redressed and expanding Hollywood Center Studios. Sound stages rose, new buildings were added, but rather than erase the old road, crews built over it. Portions of Chaplin's filming street, paved, compacted, and reinforced during the silent era, remained underground. Soundstage floors and support structures covered it, turning the once bustling roadway into a sealed pocket of early Hollywood history. Multiple renovation workers in the 1970s noted finding a preserved roadway with early concrete scoring beneath Stage 4 and Stage 5, likely remnants of Chaplin's original outdoor filming lane. Today, while the studio has changed hands several times, engineers confirm that sections of that buried road still lie beneath the complex. A former studio worker recalled in an interview, "When we were replacing flooring near Stage 4, we found what looked like an alley, Chaplin's Alley, perfectly straight, perfectly hidden. The lost streets of Universal City's original lower lot." Universal City, founded in the early 19-teens, wasn't just a studio. It was one of the first fully functioning movie towns. Long before sound stages dominated the landscape, Universal built sprawling outdoor sets connected by real dirt roads and wooden walkways. These roads wound through makeshift neighborhoods, city blocks, and rural landscapes designed for dramas, newsreel recreations, and action scenes. Most of these routes vanished as Universal modernized, but deep beneath the lower lot, one of the silent era's most important filming streets still survives. Under the studio where blockbuster rides now roar, an early Hollywood street sleeps untouched, sealed away since the silent era. When Carl Laemmle opened Universal City in 1915, he envisioned a self-contained film village. It had its own police force, post office, zoo, and dozens of outdoor sets built across rolling hills. Connecting all of these miniature neighborhoods were long dirt roads, designed to function both as transport paths and as ready-made film locations. The most famous of these was a winding stretch on the lower side of the property, a road used in silent dramas, early serials, and recreated news events. It appeared in productions featuring Lon Chaney and in Universal's bustling lineup of mid-19-teens short films. Directors loved the road's geography, slight curves, natural elevation changes, and surrounding barns and facades that could stand in for everything from a frontier town to a European village. For a time, this silent-era road was one of the most filmed pathways in California. As Universal shifted towards sound in the late 1920s and early 1930s, open-air shooting became impractical. Noise from nearby streets, aircraft, and construction made controlled environments essential. Bit by bit, Universal replaced its outdoor sets with permanent structures and sound stages. The lower part of the lot was especially transformed. New buildings rose. Entire sections were filled in to support future backlot expansions. But instead of leveling every inch, crews simply built over the old filming street. By the 1950s, the road that once hosted stagecoaches, chase scenes, and early melodramas was completely buried beneath tons of reinforced concrete. Yet the underlying soil, packed and shaped by decades of filming, remained intact. During underground utility work in the 1970s, maintenance teams reported uncovering a compacted road bed with clear wheel markings, consistent with the historic layout of the old lower lot filming street. Engineers determined it was easier to work around it than remove it, leaving most of the silent-era road preserved beneath the modern complex. One Universal technician reportedly remarked during the 1970s renovation, "It felt like we'd stumbled onto a ghost street, like the old studio was still there, waiting for cameras to start rolling again." The remark never made the papers, but it circulated among studio staff as a reminder of how much history lay beneath their feet. Guests who visit Universal Studios today see lights, sound stages, and towering attractions. Paramount's lost western roads beneath Melrose offices. Before Paramount became synonymous with polished sound stages and towering studio gates, the Melrose Avenue lot was a rugged landscape filled with makeshift exteriors, open-air sets, and long dirt roads crafted for silent westerns and adventure serials. Hidden beneath the modern studio offices and parking structures lies one of those early filming roads, a stretch once used by stunt writers, directors, and silent-era stars long before the studio system reached its golden age. Beneath Paramount's polished front offices lies a forgotten western road where early Hollywood carved its beginning into the dirt. When Paramount settled into its Melrose location in the 19-teens, the studio devoted much of its land to outdoor filming. At the time, westerns were enormously popular, and studios needed open space for horses, wagons, and expansive action sequences. Paramount created several purpose-built dirt roads across its lot, simple but essential backdrops for adventure scenes. These roads weren't just random patches of earth. They were carefully shaped to allow for long runs, chases, and dramatic reveals. Directors could position cameras at a distance, capturing stunt riders at full speed without the noise or unpredictability of public streets. Silent stars who worked on the lot during those years, actors like William S. Hart, often rehearsed scenes on these same dusty pathways. Paramount's early logs describe a long western stretch for riding sequences, likely referring to the very road now hidden beneath today's offices. For nearly a decade, this unassuming dirt lane was a core piece of the studio's visual vocabulary. The arrival of sound in the late 1920s transformed Paramount almost overnight. Outdoor shooting became difficult as microphones needed controlled environments. By the early 1930s, new brick offices, sound stages, and support buildings began rising across the lot. As construction expanded along Melrose, the old silent-era filming road vanished from sight. Instead of excavating it fully, workers leveled portions and poured foundations directly over the compacted dirt. It was faster, cheaper, and practical, but it unintentionally preserved the road beneath layers of concrete and subflooring. During a renovation in the 1950s, crews digging trenches for electrical upgrades uncovered what engineers described as hardened earth with wagon track depressions positioned exactly where historic studio maps showed one of Paramount's early filming lanes. Workers noted that the soil was so firmly compacted it seemed built, not natural. They were right. This was a silent film road, still intact. A small internal memo from a 1950s maintenance supervisor reportedly remarked, "We've found an old riding strip under Building A, unchanged since the Melrose grounds were wide open." The memo wasn't meant for the public, but it became part of quiet studio folklore. Today, Paramount's Melrose lot feels orderly, structured, and modern. But beneath the foundation of its offices lies a buried road from a different Hollywood, the buried Chinatown Street. Under Union Station, before Union Station opened in the late 1930s, the land it occupies today was the center of Old Chinatown, a community filled with narrow roads, storefronts, and daily life that dated back to the late 19th century. When Hollywood's silent-era filmmakers needed exotic markets, winding alleys, or atmospheric street scenes, they often came here. These real streets became backdrops for early adventure films and melodramas. When Union Station was built, the entire neighborhood was razed, yet several of its original roads remain sealed beneath the station's floors and platforms. Beneath the polished marble of Union Station lies a vanished Chinatown street that once doubled as a silent film backdrop. In the 1910s and early 1920s, filmmakers frequently used Old Chinatown for atmospheric location shoots. Unlike the studio's makeshift sets, these streets had texture, brick facades, curved roofs, lantern-lit storefronts, and a lived-in authenticity that early directors loved. Crews shot scenes for dramas, mystery reels, and newsreel recreations along a few key streets, particularly a narrow thoroughfare that ran diagonally across the neighborhood. Silent films didn't always credit their shooting locations, but production notes and newspaper clippings confirmed that studios like Universal and Fox occasionally filmed in this district. Residents often gathered to watch the cameras roll. Some even appeared as background performers, shaping a small but meaningful connection between their community and early Hollywood. In the early 1930s, plans were finalized to construct a brand new transit hub, Los Angeles Union Station. The city approved the demolition of Old Chinatown, and by the mid-30s, almost every building had been removed. But engineers made a practical decision. Several compacted roads, including the silent film-used diagonal street, were stable enough to build over rather than excavate. Portions of these roads were left intact beneath the station's foundation. When construction crews worked on repairs beneath the concourse in the 1970s, workers uncovered sections of the old roadbed, still recognizable by its stone curbs and tightly packed surface. City surveys later confirmed that these buried segments matched the layout of Old Chinatown's former street grid. In other words, the silent-era road was still there. Only now it lay under trains instead of cameras. A Los Angeles historian reviewing construction photographs in the 1980s remarked, "You can clearly see the outline of the old street under Union Station. It's like the neighborhood never completely left." The comment has since become widely cited among preservationists documenting the area.